Hey, Bill O'Reilly, welcome to the No Spin News. Thursday, March 27, 2021. Stand up for your country. So we have a very important broadcast for you tonight. Not because there's any major breaking news. There really isn't. There's some interesting things happening. But there's a pattern now starting to take place with President Biden that is extremely disturbing. All right, far more disturbing than anything I saw with Donald Trump or Barack Obama or Bush the Younger or even Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton had some disturbing things, obviously. But now I'm watching Joe Biden and I'm saying this is going to become an immense problem for every one of us, every American citizen. And I'm going to prove it tonight. I mean, the gas prices alone have hurt everybody because every price, not just on gasoline, is up, as we have explained. Delivery of all materials and food is up because people are paying more for gasoline. Didn't have to happen. Biden caused it by attacking the oil industry. That's how he did it. That's why it's up. It's not a supply problem. Okay, it's not a demand problem. Demand is far below what it was 2 years ago because of COVID, still in play. This is a Biden problem. So tomorrow, Joe Biden, is going to propose his budget. It is the most irresponsible budget I have seen in the history of this country. Mr. Biden wants $6 trillion in new spending. $6 trillion, okay? So he's going to run a deficit over the next 10 years of $1.3 trillion a year. A year. That means the government will pay out $1.3 trillion more than it takes in. And Biden thinks this is responsible. All right? So why is he doing this? He's doing this because he believes that poor people should be raised up by the government to middle-class status. He wants to give poor Americans money so that they raise up economically to a middle-class status. That's what this is all about when you strip it away. Okay, this is socialism. There's no doubt about it. Now, in order to make this happen, he has to tax everybody, not just the rich. Don't buy that. That's just a lie. He's got to tax everybody to even come close to covering $6 trillion in new spending. And everybody will pay more. And they'll hit you on gasoline, heating oil. They're trying to get internet taxes passed, income taxes, investment taxes, death taxes. Everything's up. And in the blue states like New York, where I am, the state will then follow. So what this does is it strips Americans of assets. So most people don't have much anyway. They spend what they make, which is beyond foolish, by the way. But they do. Lack of discipline, whatever it may be. They don't make a lot of money and they have a lot of expenses. If you have 8 kids and you're making $50,000, $60,000 a year, you're going to be poor. Okay? So the people that do have assets and do have savings and worked hard to put that money in a bank and invest that money, the government wants to strip those assets away, take them away in order to raise up the people who don't have very much to middle-class status. Okay, so this is what this is all about. And by 2028, 7 years from now, all right, the federal government in Washington would be collecting more tax revenue as a share of the total economy than at any other point in American history. So even though we fought World War I, World War II, the Civil War, we're going to dwarf that. And there's no reason for this. So in the Trump economy, the private sector was driving wages up and job creation up. That wasn't the government doing it. It was the private sector because Trump said, if you are successful, you keep more profits. That was the corporate tax cut. So everybody in the country who was working was benefiting because wages were going up, because business was expanding. Now they've wiped that out. And the government wants to control the economy. So, enter this day in history. Stay with me now. Okay? 86 years ago today, May 27th, 1935, the Supreme Court unanimously ruled that President Roosevelt's National Recovery Act was unconstitutional. Nobody knows this. Nobody will report this except me, because I'm a historian and a reporter. So what was the National Recovery Act all about? It's the same thing Biden's doing now. FDR, in the middle of a depression, wanted Washington to run the American economy. So he put this into an act, all right, whereby the feds would control, by regulation, by taxation, every part of the private economy. Supreme Court said, no, you can't do it. Here's a summary up on the screen. Summary of the Supreme Court ruling. The act gives the Roosevelt administration too much power to control the economy, unquote. Now that's what's going to have to happen now again. Some state is going to have to sue the Biden administration for this punitive taxation and insane spending. Now, I have told you that Joe Biden is by far the most leftist president in U.S. history, not liberal, leftist. He is now going into the socialistic realm by spending $6 trillion, as I said, to elevate the poor artificially. Artificially. They're not earning it. They're going to be given it. And it comprises many things. That's socialism. Biden probably doesn't understand that because he's diminished. And I'll go back to this. That's not an excuse for Joe Biden. It is a reality that the American people must face. The president does not understand what he is doing in many cases. Not all, but many. The socialists running Biden, and he is deep in their pocket, are telling him what to do, and he's doing it. He is more radical left than Bernie Sanders. Can you believe that? That is the truth. You will never hear this from the corporate media, from the Democratic Party, and the problem that the Republicans have and the conservative pundits is they attack Biden personally. All right? They mock him, they diminish him personally. That turns off some people who are in the middle. I'm giving you the facts of what he wants to do. And again, personal freedom is the casualty. The more money you have, the more secure you are against the horrors of this world. We want to take that away. So you're dependent on them in Washington. That's what socialism is. So remember, all right, 86 years ago today, the Supreme Court ruled the Roosevelt National Recovery Act unconstitutional because it did exactly what Biden wants to do now. No difference. Harvard. As you know, I attended, I have a master's degree from that school. The medical school, one of the best in the world, has announced the implementation of an anti-racist training policy. Put it up on the screen. This is from the medical school. We must be actively anti-racist. We absolutely, unapologetically denounce our wretched, racist system and its proponents without exception. Wretched, racist system. And if you disagree with that, You're their enemy. They want to destroy you. Now, this is perhaps the most irresponsible statement I have ever seen from a major university in this country. A wretched, racist system. That's what they believe America is all about. I'm almost beyond words. Harvard, Yale, okay? They want open borders, okay? Harvard, Yale professors have teamed up, and these are professors of, it's the Harvard Immigration and Refugee Program, the University Network for Human Rights at Harvard, the Yale Immigrant Justice Project, the Yale Environmental Law Association. They have cleaned up, and they say that every person in the world should be admitted to the United States, let in here to live, because we, the USA, are responsible for global warming. I mean, put it up on the screen, I'll read it. Since the United States is one of the world's greatest emitters of greenhouse gases and a contributor to the political instability of the region, the United States must bear responsibility in ensuring those who are forced to migrate can do so with security and dignity, because countries are devastated not only by rapid weather events, but also by slow-moving environmental crises, such as droughts and coastal erosion. The Biden administration should consider making programs such as temporary protected status, deferred enforcement departure, and humanitarian parole available to those facing slow onset events as both urgent and worthy. Okay? So that means everybody in the world could come here. Everybody. This is Harvard and Yale. Talk about wanting to destroy your country. That's what those people want to do. They want to destroy this nation, destroy it, and then rebuild it in their image. Brandeis University, also in Boston, outside of Boston. All right, this is the Assistant Dean for Graduate Student Affairs. Big job. Her name is Kate Slater. This is what Kate Slater says. Ready? Quote, "Yes, all white people are racist, in that all white people have been conditioned in a society where one's racial identity determines life experiences, outcomes, and whiteness is the norm and the default. That includes me. I don't hate white people, I hate whiteness." So that is a blatantly racist statement, and if she had said that about any other skin color on the face of this earth, she'd be fired immediately. But she can attack my skin color and me as a Caucasian and tell the world, in her opinion, that I am a bigot. I hurt people because of my skin color. That's what Kate Slater can do. Again, she did any other skin color in the world, fired like that. So, Brandeis, Harvard, Yale, on, and on. This is what the students are hearing every day. And if you don't toe that line, if you dare to dissent, you are not going to prosper at those universities. This is fascism. This is what happened in Stalin's Russia, in Hitler's Germany, in Spain's Franco. Okay? This is what happened. It's happening here. Joe Biden going to stop it? No. Joe Biden's on board. Congress going to stop it? Not Democrats. Pelosi and Schumer are on board. So now we're in a position where we have to fight for our lives. Literally. We, the people who don't believe that skin color should drive national policy, who don't believe that white people are evil or whiteness is evil, who don't believe any of that. We now are fighting for our lives. And we're fighting for our assets, money that we earned honestly. We have to fight to keep it. So in the 2022 election, the midterms coming up, if the left wins again, could be over. That's how important this upcoming election is. And once again, I will tell you that if you're watching network and cable news, and I mean all of it, 100% of it, if that's what you're watching, you don't know what the deuce is going on in this country. So if you care about family and friends, if you care about other people, either get them a premium membership to BillO'Reilly.com or strongly suggest that they make that very minor investment. Because I'm going to give you, throughout the rest of this year, tips to protect yourself. I'm sending a message now to the attorney generals of all the red states. Start to develop your lawsuit against the Biden budget. Start now. Because if you do file, you'll win in the Supreme Court. They have, thanks to Trump. Because FDR, what I just told you, that'll happen again. The Biden administration is trying to take over the free enterprise market. That's what they're trying to do. Get those suits up and running now. Because you're not going to be able to depend on Mitch McConnell or McCarthy in the House. They don't have the power. If they did have the power, they'd stop this. But they don't. Now, maybe they'll get it back in 2022. But I'm looking at a mayoral race this year in New York City, which is absolutely falling apart. And there's no two sides to that story. Violent crime is insane in that city, and in Chicago, and in San Francisco, and in Minneapolis, and in Baltimore, all Democrat-run cities. And you know what? They're going to elect another Democrat mayor here in New York City. That's what's going to happen. Okay, so I say we are all in danger, all of us, from violent criminals. Even if you have a wall around your house, even if you can afford security people, you're still in danger. There is a priest in Oakland, California. He's a big priest. He's a bishop. His name is Michael Barber. On Sunday, last Sunday, he took a walk, just a walk, midday, to get some fresh air in Oakland. Roll the tape.
I'll mention this today and then I'll shut up about it, but yesterday at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I was taking a walk in our neighborhood. I go out and walk in the afternoon and say the rosary. A man pulled a gun on me, pointed at me and said, "Give me your wallet." And I was terrified. I was afraid, maybe this is it. I said, "I'm sorry for my sins, Lord." And I took out my wallet and I was shaking and he said, "Give me the cash, give me the cash." I gave him the money. And then he saw my bishop's ring, says, "Give me that ring." I was afraid. I'd rather have my life than, so I gave him the ring with which I was consecrated by the Archbishop when I was made a bishop.
Of course, the perpetrator wasn't caught. And even if they do get him, probably nothing will happen to him. So that's midday, a major American city, a bishop. Okay. Today in the Wall Street Journal's op-ed page, James Carville writes an article that says the Democratic Party is the best party to deal with crime. So, I know Carville. He's not a stupid man. I can only assume that he's being dishonest intellectually. We say Chicago, New York, San Francisco, LA, Minneapolis, Baltimore, Philadelphia, all falling apart. Okay, crime, street crime is a local matter. So Carville, of course, blames the crime wave on Trump. Of course. Everything like that. But I'm going to write a column myself on Sunday, I'll file it on Sunday, about Carville's article and how incredibly wrong it is. But people read that. And they read it and they go, "Oh, yeah. Democrats, they're doing a good job on crime." Twilight Zone. Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, the lady who will not talk to white people, okay? She has a new police initiative. It's called the New Foot Pursuit Policy in Chicago, okay? And under this policy, police officers are not allowed to chase people if they commit anything lower than a Class A misdemeanor. So how do you know? So if somebody breaks into a 7-Eleven and steals stuff, maybe with a gun, and runs away, a cop, well, should I chase him? Am I breaking my own rules? This is the insanity going on in Chicago and other liberal-run cities. I've never seen anything like it. I really haven't ever seen anything like it. So here's another giant lie. I'm sorry, I have to apologize, but I have to tell you the truth of it. It's all starting to go south fast. So the head of Homeland Security is a man named Alejandro Mayorkas. Alejandro Mayorkas. So he's testifying in front of the Homeland Security Committee in the House yesterday. Roll the tape.
It appears that President Biden's message to one and all is that the U.S. has no limits to whom can come because the administration will not enforce any of its immigration laws. Is that the message? This country will not enforce its immigration laws? And I will let you respond, sir.
No, it is not. And the president could not have been clearer in his articulation of this administration's position, nor could I have been clearer and continue to be so, which is the border is closed. And this administration administers and enforces the laws of the United States of America.
The border is closed, says Mr. Mayorkas. That's a lie. That's a deception. He knows the border isn't closed because the Border Patrol has issued the following statistics, and Mr. Mayorkas gets the first copy. So in January, 78,500 foreign nationals crossed into the United States, according to Border Patrol. February, 101,000. March, 173,000. April, 179,000. 4 months, 532,000 foreign nationals have turned themselves in or been encountered by the Border Patrol. 532,000 human beings. And yet the Department of Homeland Security chief tells Congress the border is closed. Again, will anything happen to Mayorkas? No. Will anything happen to the bigots at Harvard? No. To the bigot at Brandeis? No. To the people who want open borders in Yale and Harvard? Will anything happen to them? No. That's why this continues. In Tennessee, they want to do something about it. So the state legislature yesterday introduced legislation that would require the Biden administration to consult state and local officials before resettling migrants into Tennessee. So in order to put somebody on a bus in El Paso and send them to Nashville, the Tennessee authorities would have to be alerted. Now that's going to pass in Tennessee. But the Biden administration is not going to obey it. They're not going to do it. And they don't have to do it. Because on all matters of immigration, the federal government takes precedence. So this is symbolic, what this is. But that's okay. If every state in the union would do it, it might embarrass Joe Biden. But I don't even believe he's capable of being embarrassed anymore. Okay, so the corporate media cheers all of this insanity on. You all know that. We've established that beyond any reasonable doubt. And even Fox News, which is a lone dissenter in the corporate world, they don't really confront it anymore. A few of the primetime hosts do. A few of them do. But that's it. All right? So it's kind of like we're going to go along to get along. We got to make money here, and we're not going to really rock the boat. So there is no real counterattack to the corporate media other than you. And in the case of CNN, you're countering. So CNN has lost 67% of its total viewership since January. I've never seen anything like it. 67% of CNN viewers are gone since January because they know they're being lied to by incompetence. CNN has lost, MSNBC, I should say, has lost 50% of its total viewership. Fox, about 15% in the key demo and about 12% overall. Now, that's much less than CNN and MSNBC, but that's still significant. So people are just saying, enough. We're being deceived. We know we're being deceived, and we're not going to watch anymore. That happened to the Academy Awards. That'll never come back. That's gone. Late night TV, never come back. Finished. The movie industry, with the exception of some of these, big, crazy monster movies, Godzilla and I don't know, Iron Man, whatever they are, regular movies, never coming back. Let's go to the mail. Robert Clausen, Davenport, Florida. The Chinese government did more than just cover up the origin of COVID. They contributed to its spread and the subsequent deaths of millions when they failed to restrict Chinese citizens from traveling outside China during the 2020 Lunar New Year holiday period. That's a very, very good observation, Rob. That inside China, as you point out, they did restrict Wuhan people. They couldn't go anywhere. But if the Wuhan people want to get on a plane and go to the USA, they could. So the Chinese Communist government doesn't care about it. Come on. In fact, I'm sure they're happy that the world is suffering. It weakens the world, strengthens them. Chris Singh, Miami, Florida. I discuss politics with friends. I find people are dead set in defending their respective party. No matter what red or blue do, they defend the color of their choice to the end. None of them give an inch. Well, why bother then, Chris? Talk about sports. Talk about the Dolphins, the Heat. There's plenty of heat in Miami. I don't ever engage people who aren't going to consider the facts. That's the litmus test. If you present facts and back the facts up, look, this came from here, this came from there, you can check it, all right, and they still are loons, no, check please. That's it. So we are a noble nation, all right, and I want to reinforce that on Memorial Day weekend because of all the hatred that we're seeing from the progressive left. Wretched country. Oh, it makes me so angry, I can't tell you how angry it makes me. But I'm going to control myself. I am. But I'm not giving them any quarter. I'm going to name the names. And we want you to have a great weekend. Relax a little bit. Have some fun. No mask for me this weekend. I'm going to get out in the fresh air. We'll see you Tuesday.